What's happening, cats? Well, I'm taking the back seat off the bike for the ride coming up here. I used to run it without the back seat all the time, and kind of liked it that way. It all started, when I was hanging out up at the biker bar, and I'd go up there, and all these hoochies would want me to give them a ride on the bike. And I got tired of it, I didn't want to be an amusement park ride, giving free rides on the bike all the time. So I took the back seat off, and I told him, I said, sorry, I don't have a back seat, I can't give rides. And that was the end of that. And then I strapped my jacket was back here, but I moved it up here. Gives me a little bit of a little butt rest there, and just opens up the rest of my back fender there. So that'll be my ride for the weekend. I gotta polish this up a little bit though, it's pretty filthy. I'll just use some of my F11 on there. A few little squirts right onto the fender, and wipe it off with the rag. It looks like brand new again. You can use the F11 on all of this stuff too. Put a little bit on that leather strap. Some of the people were asking me, about my saddlebags. I fabricated this leather strap. I had it sewn on. The saddlebags just were this part right here. It didn't come with this over the fender part, and so I cut this out of a sheet of leather, and I had it sewn professionally, and then I put a couple rivets in the corners just to hold it solid, and it's been pretty tight ever since. It's worked really well for me. All right, that looks good. And that's the way I will ride until my wife can ride with me again. She's not up to ride, and she hasn't been doing very well. She's been struggling along, not only with her cancer, but she got this cold, and it's gone into her chest. So she's been struggling with it for a couple of weeks. I'm probably going to have to end up taking her into the hospital and have them take a look at her, because she's already had part of her lung removed as a result of the cancer. And I'm afraid, I didn't want it to go to pneumonia or something like that, so we have to be very cautious about that. But she won't be riding with me for a while, so I think I'll just leave the bike like this with my roll right behind the seat, and opens up my back fender, and we'll just ride it like that. Now, going back to the bar thing, I took the back seat off because all the hoochies wanted to ride on there, and I didn't want to be giving rides all the time. Well, I was a member of Rolling Thunder. I was full patched Rolling Thunder, and every year we rode to Washington, D.C. for the big Rolling Thunder event. And I think they changed the name of it now to Rolling for the Troops or something like that. But a great big shindig they have in Washington, D.C. So with the group Rolling Thunder, we rode to Washington, D.C. Now, at the time, I was not with Val. She was married to this other fellow. He had gone out and bought himself a Harley, but he was the most terrible operator that I've ever seen. He was really bad at riding a motorcycle. He had like zero experience. And for some odd reason, he felt obligated to be in Rolling Thunder and have this Harley and ride with us. And a little critical sometimes because of his inexperience at riding. Well, he wanted to go to Washington, D.C., and of course, being married to Val at the time, he and her rode on his Harley. Well, we started out the ride, and I don't think we went probably an hour or so, and we stopped to fuel up. I'm probably somewhere on the Pennsylvania border. I don't remember exactly where it was. And Val was scared to death. She had been riding with her husband at the time, and his riding was so deplorable. She just said, I can't ride with him. I can't. I feel like my life is in jeopardy. So she asked if she could ride with me. Well, I told her, I said, I'm sorry, but I don't have a back seat. I mean, this is the way my bike was. Plus I had some gear here, you know, that I was bringing along for the ride. And she said, that's all right. I'll squeeze in there. I'll sit on the fender. I don't care, but I'm not riding with him anymore. I don't want to die. And I felt that her complaint was legit because I had seen his riding abilities and they were terrible. You know, I mean, you've all seen the foot draggers, you've seen the squirrely on the takeoffs and jerking the clutch, and yeah, I mean, it was 100% novice stuff. So I don't blame her for being scared to death. I wouldn't have wanted to ride. I didn't want to ride beside the guy, much less anything else, all the way to Washington, D.C. and back. So she plunked her butt on that fender. I mean, on this leather strap. That was the seat, and you know, there's no cushion there. It's as hard as a rock. So, but that's where she rode all the way to Washington, D.C. for the Rolling Thunder event, and then all the way back home again. She rode with me on the back here. It probably was another year or so before she went through a divorce and ended up hanging out with me. And then we ended up getting together. And eventually, after a few more years, we ended up getting married, the two of us. So, that wasn't the end of her riding on the fender, though. And that's pretty hardcore for a woman. And there are women that will ride the fender. I've seen a few in my lifetime of riding, but I never expected V to be one that would ride on the fender. And she did, more often than not. In fact, for years, she refused to sit on a seat. I probably had 3 different pillion pads, and that's what they call some of these back seats. You know, they have these little thin ones that come back, and they're maybe about that thick, and they just bolt right on the same as the passenger seat. But she didn't like that. Take it off. I don't want it. I'll just ride on the fender. Okay. It's up to you. You know, if that's what you want to do, then that's fine with me. I did have a little leather pillow, just a little small thing, you know. And if it was a real long ride, she'd stick that under her butt and sit on that little leather pillow. But there was never a seat on there. It was, I don't know, maybe about 8 years ago or so, that I took both my seats, this seat and the passenger seat, to a local woman that does reupholstering and stuff. And she took and put all new leather on and put gel pads in these seats. And then I put this seat back on and took Val for a ride. And she said, yeah, that'll work. From now on, I think I'll be happy to sit on that. No more fender. You know, you get older, you get wiser, I guess. If you're like me, the older you get, the bonier your butt gets, and the harder it is to sit for a long period of time. So, yeah, the extra gel pad in the seat is a lifesaver. I mean, this seat was stock. It had no cushion to it at all. It was like sitting on a rock. You know, and I rode the thing all over the country like that, and boy, my back would hurt, my butt would hurt. I couldn't wait to get off of that thing. Now with this gel pad seat in there, much, much improved. Well, it's severe storm warnings this afternoon. And I mean, you can see the raindrops coming down here. And it is raining right now. I don't think it's severe by any means, but it's raining nonetheless. Thanks for watching the video today. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our videos. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Until next time, cats, ride hard and die free.